Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Hit the like button on your way in. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Good morning. No, Victoria. Good morning, Victoria. No, I do not do resumes. However, I do resume lives on our YouTube channel, or you may find them on Facebook. If you come over to our YouTube channel, I do resume lives. Not a lot, but I do have several on there. I may do one maybe um probably like the Thanksgiving week. I'll probably try to get one in and do one then, where I show you how to um, use tools to create resumes and give you a thought process of what your thought process when creating a resume. I do a strategy that we use called keywords in uh, doing your resume, creating your resume. So we talk about all that. We talk about experiences and we talk about transferable skills, which is a little bit what we're going to talk about today. And I give you pointers and tips on resume, things like that. I don't do them though, no. But I feel like the advice and the tools that I give, you can do it yourself, and no better person than to tell your story than you. So I hope that helps. Hey, Leonica. Good morning, Queen. Hey, Carrie. Hey, Gases Gavel. Hey, hey, hey. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Hope you guys are having a great weekend. Okay, Victoria, that's part of what we're going to talk about today, transferable skills. And if you've never worked from home before, how you can basically take the skills you have, and I use the phrase lean them towards work from home, but use those same skills you already have and transform them on your resume to help with obtaining a work from home job, because we all have skills that we use that are transferable to work from home, no matter what job sector we are in or have been in. So, hope you guys are having a great weekend. Thank you so much for joining us. If you are with us, me, Carol is probably going to be in the chat. I don't know if she's going to be in the chat. I didn't even ask her, but I am Tan. Carol is my business partner. Together, we are two chicks with a side hustle. We post work at home jobs, side gigs, and side hustles. We do these lives to share information, to give information, and to talk about work from home things, and to also help you with obtaining work from home positions, as well as doing side gigs and side hustles. And if you don't know what a side gig and side hustle it is just something that you can use to um, obtain streams of income. Basically, it's things you can do on your own time, and you can use those in conjunction with your full-time income. Or we have people who only do side gigs and side hustles and have created full-time income just doing those. So it's whatever your preference is. I always say, if you cannot find a work from home job right away, because it is a process, it is not something that happens one, two. For some people it may, but for a lot of people it doesn't. It takes, time to fill out these, send your resumes, give feedback, do the, interview, la da 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 da. It takes a little while. So we talk about these side gigs and side hustles because some of them you can start immediately. excuse me, some of them you don't have to have, well, most of them you don't have to have an interview. So it's something that you can get started right away. So if that's what you're looking for, we do a lot of those. We talk about a lot of those. We have a great community of people who share different side gigs and side hustles, remote work with us. And they come on and tell their experience. So thank you guys for joining us. Carol and I have been doing the work from home thing since about 2006, and we created our blogs as well as our social media platforms just to give people ideas and tools and places to go to be able to find work from home. We know that there's a lot of scams out there, so we just want to provide a safe place for people to go, and also a safe place where people can come talk about the things that they have done or the things that they currently do to work from home and share with other people and let them know that there are things that are non-traditional things as well as traditional things you can do from home or do on your own time to create income. So thank you for joining. A lot of things that we get, a lot of questions we get a lot of times is, I've never worked from home. I've never worked from home. I've, did certain type of work. Maybe I was a housekeeper at a hotel. Maybe I worked at McDonald's. Maybe I worked in a warehouse. Maybe I, did was I worked as in-home healthcare, and I don't think I have the skills to work at home. But we all have skills that can transfer into work from home. So just because you have never sat at a desk, taken a phone call, wore a headset, or anything that has to do with customer service or whatever type of work from home job you are looking for. Now, let's just be frank, all jobs can't be work from home. There are some things you are just not going to get work from home. So that, a lot of people struggle with that because they're like, okay, well, can I do this working from home? Can I do that working from home? The things that you can't do working from home. Nobody's going to send boxes to your house to have you store them to, be a warehouse work from home. I mean, there is things that do that, but, you're not going to that's not going to be something that's going to be a full-time job that is going to be something that you are going to get benefits from or something like that. No, but there are a number of jobs that are work from home and that you do have skills for that we call transferable skills, that you use the same skills you have and just use them in a work from home setting or use them to qualify for a work from home setting. So we all have skills. So in the chat, put some of the jobs you guys have done, be it whatever type of job it is. And we can talk about those type of jobs and how you can use transferable skills to maybe modify your resume and, to look at the things that you have done to be able to transfer them from whatever method you did them in to work from home. So I'll get started. I'll do one. And I work at Wendy's. Yes, I have worked at Wendy's, and I made burgers. I did the register. I did the drive-through, and I worked at Wendy's. I was whatever you want to call it, cashier, la da 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 da. So I worked at Wendy's, and at a point in time, I had to list Wendy's as one of my employers on my resume because I did work there, and I needed to show that I had work experience, and I need that was recent. I needed to show recent work from home experience. So I had to put Wendy's on my resume. I did. So I was like, okay, well, and at the time I was not looking for work from home, but we're going to put it in a pretense of working from home. So if I wanted to work from home, being a cashier or being someone who worked at Wendy's or April said worked at McDonald's, and I did the register, what what kind of things did I do that also can pertain to work from home? So I listened. I listened. So when you work from home, you have to listen effectively because you're going to be on a headset and people talk to you and people, I listened effectively. I spoke clearly. I took the orders, and if the machine broke or I couldn't get it on the cash register fast enough, sometimes I wrote down the order. So I had to write them, and if someone had to key them in for me, they were able to read. And so I use communication skills. All of that encompasses communication skills. So employers look for people who can communicate effectively through chat, via email, or video calls for work from home. They look for people with communication skills because you have to be able to communicate effectively in order to do work from home customer service or any type of work from home, because you're not there with the person that you're helping. You have to be able to communicate effectively over a different medium. So you can take drive-through experience and make it work from home. So if you work the drive-through, you can say, hey, I cut drive-through down by 15% using clear and concise communication, because that shows the employer that, oh yeah, I did the drive-through, but I did it efficiently and effectively by communicating efficiently and effectively. So you can use those drive-through skills, even though you may say, well, they don't have nothing to do with working from home customer service. Yes, it does, because you were able to talk on that microphone, just something like this, and be able to communicate that and still run the register, which is the same thing as being able to type and listen to the person on your headset. So you can do that. You can say, communicate it. But a lot of times, like I told you before in other resume lives, numbers are important on resumes. You want to show achievements. So if you won an award by being the best drive-through person, put that on there, because that has something to do with the way you communicated, that you were able to communicate effectively to win an award for communicating, because drive-through is not only taking orders, you have to listen. And that's with any ordering thing. If you worked at McDonald's, if did things where you had to listen to people and follow directions, which is all jobs, you have communicated. That is a part of communication skills. So don't think that you have not, positioned yourself to work from home just because you have never did customer service job. Communication skills are embedded in every job. Some type of communication skill is embedded in every job. It may not look the same at all jobs, but it is embedded in all jobs. I don't care if you worked in a warehouse. You had to communicate if think about warehouse work. You can have to communicate if something's wrong with the orders you're picking. You have to communicate if there's nothing left for you to pick, things like that. So you use communication skills in different ways at different jobs, but they are all embedded. So that is a big one when it comes to working from home, that type of skill. So don't think, again, that is one that you can use, communication skills. But you have to be able to tell how you use those communication skills in your job. Just don't say, I have communication skills, because we all can talk. We all can communicate. You have to show how you use those communication skills. And I'll go back to the drive-through analogy. I decreased drive-through time by 15% or by 15 seconds because I would communicate it efficiently and effectively. Something like that. So communication skills, that is one transferable skill that can really help you with work from home. Okay? So let's talk about another one. Organization and time management. because that is another one. Hold on, let me read the chat. She said, I volunteered low income office where I filed papers, input, and answered the phones and help us. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. So, April, that is a good one because those are all components of work from home. Everything that you do. Uh, File papers, even though you don't file papers physically. With work from home, you do file files, and files are on the computer. And I'm sure it's some type of files or filing system database that you have to deal with when you're taking orders and things like that. You input information into computers. That's data entry. That's, basically if you're doing orders or looking into their database for different customers, uh, that is the same thing. So all of that can be put on your resume. But again, if you have strong suits, I mean, if you have things you excelled at, if you got any awards, if were giving any accolades or things like that, if you decreased something, if you made the job better, if you created processes that lowered things, make sure you highlight those because hey, we can all put file papers on our resume, but we have to make it mean something. We have to make it mean something in context to the job that you're applying for. So when we're doing our resume, yes, we are saying I did these at this job, but we want to make them in context to the job that we're applying for. So like say they want you to have communication skills, and the job you're applying for is a customer service rep. So they need to know that you communicated effectively, clearly, because they need you to have communication skills. So one of my bullet points on my position on my job, if I had answered the phones and things like that, I would be like, um, answered calls for la da 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 da, and then maybe I'll add something like routed calls to correct and proper channels, things like that. I would make it stand out, just not I answered the phone, because we can all answer the phone. I would find something that'll make it stand out pertaining to the job that I am applying for. So, don't just, this resume thing is not just something we hand in hoping. It's something that we curate. We look at the job description and make sure that whatever I put in this resume is going along with that job description, because I'm trying to get that job. I'm trying to fit my skills that I have to fit this job that's on this job description. So, and that's called the keyword strategy. And I go in a little deeper in other resume laws. I'm not going to talk about it here, but again, that's the whole strategy. You have to tailor your resume, and I'll say that again, to the job description. Tailor it to the job description. And I've been saying that since 2019. You have to tailor it to the job description, meaning that you have to make the skills that you have match these skills that this company is looking for. Using whatever skills that you gained from these previous employers, you have to make it do that. So, and I think that people, you want to list, oh, I have this skill, this skill, this skill. Yes, you have the skills, but what are you doing with them? How can you use those skills to fit this position? And we lose track of that. We want to list all what we can do, like, oh, I can do this, 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 and this. Yes, okay, you can do all that. But how does it pertain to this position? How can I show this company that the skills that I have fit this position perfectly? Or it will make them want to call me for a interview. So another one, again, organization and time management. So that is another skill that people who work from home, companies, they look for, that you can organize things, meaning that you can pick up on how companies organize. Different companies have different file systems. Different companies maintain their database different ways, different companies, if you're how you can pick up on that organization type things, if you're able to catch on to how they file things and how they put things away, how they store things in their database. Can you pick up on that organization? Meaning, how do you organize your things? They don't necessarily, when it comes to a lot of companies, they don't necessarily have you store a lot of things on your computer. You will always be storing the things in their platform. So a lot of they want to make sure they, number one, organization, you can, organize yourself enough to be able to do the job, meaning that you can show up on time, you can, be able to put things and input things in the right way, organization, things like that. If you can meet deadlines, if you, can juggle multiple tasks, you can manage your schedule, stay on top of priorities, if you hold yourself accountable without direct supervision. Those are organization type skills and time management skills. So if you can, if you've ever did anything project based at your job, so say you were in charge of putting stuff away, when you got a truck in the restaurant, so say that was your task, and so you did that, you did it faster, you did it, what I'm saying, you were able to do that. That was one of your projects. So those are the type of things you would list on your resume. I was responsible for offloading and unloading food orders. I did it faster, and I was given 2 hours. I maintained my time production when unloading the truck. So, you can use things like that to say, hey, I did projects. I was in charge of this. Maybe you were a manager and you was in charge of schedule. Maybe you decreased. Maybe you found a way where you can decrease, labor cost. You can put that on there. Anything, if you were up front, like I use this analogy all the time. If you were up front in a restaurant and it took 2 people to run the front usually, but you can run it with 1 person, you decrease labor costs by 50% on the front line because you were up there by yourself when it normally took 2 people. So things like that. Now, it may sound fancy, but basically what it was you could run the front when it was on the, things like that. I worked at Taco John's and I had a friend, me and her worked there, and on Sundays it could just be me and her, when normally it took 4 people to do the jobs, but we did it with 2 people. So we decreased labor costs in the restaurant by 50% on Sundays because me and her were the only one that worked, open to close. So things like that. People don't think about things like that when they're building their resume, because they'd be like, oh, I just worked at Wendy's, or but if you did things, because, we all have things that we can pick up on really quick and that we can do, or, extremely better than other people. So make those things shine on your resume. They're not just things you did to show up and show out. No, they're things that you can actually actively put on your resume and make it, to show people that, hey, I did something that stood out. I did something that, was able to save the company money. Companies like that, because companies are not in the business of spending money and not getting a return on their investment. Okay. So highlight those things. Don't shy away just because you say, oh, it was just working at McDonald's. No, it was working at McDonald's, but it also added to your skill set. And it also, if it can save a company money, they're going to be like, hey, this is a go-getter. They're looking out for our bottom line too. Okay. So another skill that, number 3, another skill that we have and we don't, that it's problem solving. And that is a transferable skill. And how you, frame problem solving on your resume, it just depends on, again, how you what job you had and how did you use that problem solving skill. So problem solving skills, you figure out things. That's what it is. You have ability to troubleshoot. issues. So if somebody comes with you and say, "Hey, look, I can't get the fry buzzer to go off. I don't know what and you go in and you tinker with it and you figure it out. And what if you're that person over and over and over again, or you're that person that people come to on the job and say, "Hey, my computer is doing this, this, and this. I can't figure it out." And it's been known that you are the person to go to when people can't figure things off about your computer. You can put that on your resume. Assisted colleagues with computer issues, you know, and maybe that, that shows number one, teamwork. That shows number two, you problem solve. But you did that. So, and you can say assist problem solve, colleagues with problem solving, Windows issues, whatever you're using, Mac issues, things, and you can list those on your resume if you were that person. You know, companies love that. They love people who can find solutions to problems, and that you are able to make the sound decisions independently, that you don't have to go to somebody else and say, hey, Charles, what's wrong with this computer? Because Charles was doing something else before you asked him, and you took Charles away. So you wasting company time. So if you can save company time to say, "Hey, I don't need nobody. I don't need to send Jody from upstairs to come down and figure out what's wrong with three computers," because Jody's trying to solve other problems. You can do it within your department. And that is something that people forget. If you're the go-to person, "Hey, I can't figure out what's wrong with the cash register." "Oh, John know in the back." Well, go. And if you're the one that usually calls, if you work in a McDonald's and you're the one like, "Oh, okay, I need to call, the help desk or whoever they assign," and that's a skill too, because you assisted with technical issues on the job. Called, troubleshoot technical issues at the job. Whatever it is, you are that person. So that is the skill that you have. So don't forget about those little things. And people forget about those. Yep. L. Dot said it correctly. She said, "It's so easy, hey Queen, to dismiss little tasks is just something to do, but it is part of your bigger skill set." And we all are guilty of it. We all are guilty. I know when my sister-in-law, when we first started talking about resumes, she said, "List all your skills. List everything you did. List everything. List everything. Everything." And I was like, "What?" She said, "I don't care if it's minute. I don't care if you did it one time. Take your time and list everything you have ever done. And in that, you will find skills. In that, you can." And I remember she said, "List all your skills and keep a list of them." Because if you are, and this was back before Chat GPT and things like that, because that is your list of what you all have done, what you have done. And then you look at the job description, and then you look at your skill set, and you figure out how you can match your skill set to that your skills to that job description. Now, of course, we have things now that we can use that we don't have to do all that. But again, that is a good idea, because people don't remember the minute details. But for a long time, I had a list of things that I had done that, not necessarily did every day or did on a consistent basis, but they were things I had done. And maybe I needed those type of things at one point for my resume, because of depending on what job I was in. And I'm going to say this again. Employers love people who have problem solving skills. You can troubleshoot, you can, look at step sheets or look at directions, be able to follow them to solve your own problems. So don't forget that as part of your skill set. Okay. Hold on, yeah, because people texting and calling me. Okay. All right. Adaptability. That's another one. So adaptability meaning that you all jobs, I'm not going to say most jobs, all jobs require some type of learning. You're going to be learning some type of new tool, or if you're going into totally different work sector, you're going to have to start all over, but there you are okay with learning new tools. You're okay. They want people who are okay with learning new systems. You know, they want people, not people who are still stuck in their ways and they still want to write with pen and piece of paper. They want people who are adaptable. They can come in and say, hey, okay, I may know how to operate uh, um, a database, but I'm willing, and I don't know how to operate yours, but I'm willing to learn. Or I may never have worked from home before, but I have basic computer skills and I'm willing to learn more in order to do this job. They're not looking for somebody to come in and be like, no, I don't want to do this system. I can't, and I'm not willing to learn. They want people who can come in and say, I'm willing, I'm here, I'm going to show up, and I may not have the whole thing together, but I'm willing to learn and put it together with the skills that I have. So being flexible and open to change, even though we don't like it, it creates skills gained in handling different things and also adjusting to new environments. It helps you thrive in the remote setting, because in the remote setting, every system is not going to be the same. You're going to have to learn the way a company uses the system. Maybe they all use Salesforce. Maybe you work for 4 companies that use the Salesforce data, Salesforce platform. But I guarantee you, not one of those companies use Salesforce in the same way. So you must be adaptable and flexible to learning, even though you may have learned this software from another company. You're willing to come in and use it in a way that is not the same. So adaptable and flexible, those are 2 key components, especially in the remote setting. You must be willing to learn. You must be willing to be adaptable and flexible, because if you've never been a remote worker, you don't have the help desk right at you can't go and say, hey, come fix my computer. You are part of the troubleshooting process, and you have to be comfortable with that. You have to be comfortable with, they say, hey, click on this, click on that. You have to be comfortable with taking directions, because there's nobody there but you to be able to, they can't remote into your machine, but again, you are the one that's going to be driving the train, and the train is your computer, and you have to know, certain things, download, upload, Ethernet, there are certain words and things that you're going to have to understand. So don't think that, I found my remote job and that's it for me. I'm never going to have to. No, even on that remote job, even if it's the same company, things change. They change software. They change the way they do things change, and they have to know that you'll be adaptable and flexible to do those things too. So, and the last one is customer service and people skills. So if you've ever worked in anything, anybody with anybody, in the same room with anybody, in a warehouse, in a retail store, in wherever, you're a truck driver, sold toilets, you worked in you made toilets, you did some type of customer service. Either you talk with your clients, if you are a hairdresser, you talk with your customers, co-workers, you've developed some type of empathy or interpersonal skills. And those type of skills are in high demand for work from home, because usually when we're working from home, we start off with some type of customer service position, unless you have skills to do more. There's a lot of people who transition with customer service. So those type of skills are in high demand. They're essential for remote jobs. The teamwork and being able to help others, the people skills are the most important thing, because people need to see your personality through the phone or through the computer. You need to be able to, in your voice. You need to sound happy. The inflection of your voice can't just say hello. They need to know, hello, thank you, that you want to help. So those customer service skills, those people skills, those are skills in high demand. Okay. And again, you don't need to just put I'm empathetic. I have customer service skills. Tailor it to the job description. So again, I'll go with 5 transferable skills. I'll go with the 5. The first one was communication skills. That is a transferable skill. The second one was organization and time management. The third one was problem solving. That's a huge one. I will highlight that one. The fourth one was adaptability and flexibility. And the fifth one was customer service and people skills. That was what it was. I said it was. So those 5 skills are transferable. And if you don't know what I mean by transferable, those are skills you can use no matter what job sector you are in. It doesn't matter. You have those skills. So don't think just because you have never worked remotely, you don't have skills that will allow you to work remotely, because you do. I don't care what job sector you were in. I don't care what you have done previously. Those skills that you have, I bet you are in high demand. Okay. And if you have those skills, start working on your resume. Start looking at some of these job descriptions. Start seeing how the skills that you have can, lean towards these remote jobs. If you have had trouble getting a remote job, make sure you are not sending the same resume. All job descriptions are not the same. All job descriptions do not have the same keywords. They may have keywords that are common, but they don't have the same keywords. Okay. And I think people get that confused. And I know there are some people who send hundreds and hundreds of resumes a day. I just don't subscribe to that, because I think that is, not helping. I'm not going to say it's not helping, because it does help some people get those type of remote jobs. But I think the keyword strategy leans more towards you, being able to write that resume and get those uh, get a grasp of the skills that you have. I know a lot of us, just try to say, okay, my resume is what it is. But your resume is always a living document. It is always changing. You are not going to have the same resume you had a year ago, because you gained new skills in that last year. You've gained new things you can put on your resume. And if you are actively searching, then you need to make sure those skills are being highlighted in the best way. Okay. We had something. So Victoria says, so resume is basically an ID for jobs. Yes, basically how you are the best fit for their job based on your skills. So I am in IT, and I've been in IT for a long time. And I'm not looking for other job, but I I don't I'm gonna say this. I have not updated my resume in a couple of years, because I don't plan on looking for another job. I'm happy where I'm at. And ain't nobody else gonna put up with my craziness. But I think, like, if I were to, it would take me a minute to be able to hone in on what's actively being sought as far as my skill set. What are people actually seeking? What type of jobs are out there? What skills are they actively seeking? And I have to make the decision whether, because IT is forever evolving, do I need to, number one, go and get back and get more skills, or number two, are the skills that I have good enough? So I think for me, it's different. I don't. I don't definitely know what's out there, because again, I've been in my job. I've been in this my job 10. I've been in the sector probably 15. So I think I would have to go in and see. Now, if I wanted to change sectors, I know that I probably would maybe have to go back and get the skills. But if I just want to stay in the same sector, I know what skills are in demand and what. So I think I would, tailor my skills to the specific job and where I'm applying to, not going back. So I have to evaluate that, where am I at the time. I got in the sector that I am because my kids were small, and that was what I needed at the time. So if something happens, and I need to get out of the sector, I think I would have to go back and evaluate my skills. Not saying that I would probably have to go for a little more training, but it'll be okay. Any more questions? Hey, Carolyn. All right, now let's see. We're not going to be on here long. I just want to talk about transferable skills, and I think a lot of people get afraid when we're talking about remote and don't, you know, don't know how to apply, what to apply, because they've never ever worked from home and don't know how to take their skills and, you know, and again, if you have skills and you don't know how to get, tailor your resume, use ChatGPT, use Earn Better, and say, hey, I did this at McDonald's. What can you turn it into a transferable skill for me to put on a resume? AI will do that for you. Like I said, it is a big help for people with their resumes, and give you a type of template or something you can lean on outside of yourself. So make sure you use those type of things to help you. So I am going to put the link in the chat, and we are going to go over these positions. The first one is with Stout Opportunities. So they're a client service company where they have vital roles, but this role specifically is supporting NYC public housing. Residents facing mold, leaks, and excessive moisture issues that exacerbate their health challenges. Through efficient call center service, you ensure residents receive timely assistance and solutions to improve their living conditions. This is a full-time hourly position. It's 8:30 to 5:30. All overtime must be pre-approved by the manager. You'll conduct incoming and outbound telephone calls regarding customer service questions and concerns, review data reports, respond efficiently and accurately to calls, maintain professionalism, perform clerical functions such as data entry, logging email interactions, collaborate with the management team to stay informed of client matters. You bring outstanding communication. That was one of the transferable skills we talked about. Proficiency in de-escalating customer complaints. So again, if you resolve customer issues at any job, that is a good thing to highlight. Attention to detail, written communication skills, organization skills, and ability to prioritize tasks effectively. That's organizational and time management. That's another transferable skill. Professionalism and courtesy. That's customer service. Analytical skills. That's problem solving. High level confidentiality. Adaptability. We talked about adaptability. Ability to excel in high volume and pressure environments. Problem solving skills. Strong interpersonal skills. We talked about interpersonal skills as transferable skills, expertise in customer service software systems, proficient in Microsoft, strong preference in bilingual. Um, you'll gain experience addressing pressing issues for the underserved population. And the reasonable pay for this is $20 to $25 an hour. And they are hiring in 33 locations. So make sure your location is on there. Illinois is on there and New York is on there. So those are usually two of the hard to find states. Make sure if you're in Illinois and New York, you apply. The next one job is call center rep. It is temporary now. As a part of their hiring efforts, they are using a video screening process, so you have to watch the video. They're hiring for the classes. One of them has already started, but the next one starts on 10/29, and then the following on 11/12. This is hourly rate, $19 an hour. This is Census, which is a government contract company. The first 2 weeks of training are 10 to 6:30. The next one's late shift is 12:30 to 9, and these are all Eastern Standard Time, 1:30 to 10 and 2:30 to 11. This is a seasonal role, and you support business needs and seasonal volume throughout the year. They provide training. You need a high school diploma, 1 year of call center experience or customer service preferred. This is a entry level position, so there's a self-guided assessment. So make sure you look at that. So that is the next one. Number 3, working solutions. Y'all make sure y'all go and apply looking for a customer care benefits representative role. This is enrollment. They're hiring for bilingual. You schedule your own hours. They're open and they want people to start. They want people to start by 11/6. The open enrollment season begins November 10th to December 8th. This will be the highest call volume during those dates. If you're a good fit, you would like to continue with Working Solutions after this program. They also have other seasonal programs, so make sure you check them out. You schedule your own hours. The hours of operation will be anytime between 7 a.m. and 8 p.m. So if you're looking for part-time, you have a daytime job and you can work like 4 to 8 Central Standard Time, this is a good one. It is state specific, so make sure they are hiring in your state. Again, and this is an independent contractor. I have worked for Working Solutions when they were going from digital air cable to the cable we have now, from analog to the cable we have now. So I have worked for them. Great company. Also, they're hiring for their bookkeeping software, or if you have bookkeeping or accounting practices and you are proficient in QuickBooks Online or anything else that's comparable to QuickBooks, like Intuit and things like that. Make sure you check out this role. You will be supporting these type of positions. So if you have expertise in AR, AP, journal entries, reconciliation, and customer service experience, and you are comfortable with cross-selling relevant products while addressing customer concerns, make sure you check this out. You choose your own hours anywhere between 8 and 8. And again, you need your own equipment. But again, this is a great work from home position. And the last one is for Molina Healthcare. Again, it is state specific, but I do see Illinois and New York, Washington. So there are some hard to find states on there. You'll be providing customer service to Molina members and providers. You'll provide support to members, conduct various surveys and health assessments. You'll need the ability to work regularly within a scheduled shift capable of meeting and exceeding performance goals. 1 to 3 year sales or customer service experience. Preferred systems training, Microsoft Office, Salesforce, Genesis, Pega, If you have any of those, the rate pay range is $16.50 to $20.50 an hour. Do I have any more questions? Any more questions? I think I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna promise because I may not be able to do it next Saturday. But I'm gonna try to do a little something every Saturday so we can go over things that people feel are barriers or barriers to entry on the work from home. Because a lot of people, they will apply and they say, "Oh, I haven't gotten a job. I've tried and I've tried." But if we can know some of the barriers to entry, and after this video, make sure you put those. And what I mean by barriers to entry, things that you think prevent you from getting a work from home job. So in the chat, y'all make sure in the chat, I mean, not, I'm sorry, in the comments, if you're watching this video, put the things that you think are preventing you from getting a work from home job. And we can start from there and try to get different things that we can go over, different topics, just to help. And this will help us have different topics to talk about and maybe elaborate on the things that, people feel like are preventing them from getting a work from home job. And just don't put resume. Go a little in detail so we can truly help. Because if you put resume, then I'm just gonna go over the same resume things or whatever. So be specific. If you are having, don't have specific skills or whatever, we can talk about those things, how you can, and I'm not saying that I'm going to know everything, but, some things that we have, experienced in life can help other people. And, I've been around this block a couple of times, so I think I have some advice to offer. I've been on both sides of the coin. I worked some crazy jobs before I got my career type job. So I've been there. I've worked with no degrees before. So I've been there. I know what that's like. So I've been on both sides of the coin. Well, yeah, I got to go take my babies to band, so I will get off of here now. Again, please put what you feel like is preventing you from working from home. And we will talk about it on the next, well, not on the next live, but we'll talk about it on the next, this type of live. So y'all have a great Saturday. Enjoy your week.